portions of the federal government will reopen and get back online. I'm glad that the dedicated men and women of the Coast Guard, law enforcement, the TSA, and all the other federal employees will not have to go longer without pay for their work and will receive their back pay. I know the pain that this episode has caused to many Kentuckians and to people all over our country. They deserve this resolution. So going forward, I hope our Democratic friends will stay true to the commitment they've stated constantly over the past weeks, that once the government was reopened, they'd be perfectly willing to negotiate in good faith on a full year of government funding that would include a significant investment in urgently needed border security measures, including physical barriers. After all, the only way the federal workers are going to have stability and certainty beyond the next 3 weeks, the only way our border is going to have real security, is if Democrats will stop playing partisan games and get serious about negotiating with the president on a long-term compromise. The days ahead will tell us whether our Democratic colleagues are actually serious about securing our nation, whether they actually mean what they say. So the president's called on the Senate to act on these proposals, and now that there's an agreement between the Democrats and the White House, we can make that happen.
Madam President.
Democrat leader.
Madam President, the longest shutdown in American history will finally end today. The President has agreed to our request to open the government and then debate border security, which is great news for 800,000 federal workers and millions of Americans who depend on government services. I want to thank President Trump and Leader McConnell. As just outlined, we have agreed to pass a clean 3-week continuing resolution to reopen the government. Also, we will pass legislation in the Senate related to the Department of Homeland Security so the House and Senate can participate in a conference committee on that legislation. In the conference, Democrats and Republicans will have the opportunity to negotiate the details of the Homeland Security bill, which includes issues of border security, humanitarian aid, drug inspection technology, and many others. We expect the continuing resolution to clear the House and be signed by the President today. As soon as the President signs the legislation to open government, we in Congress will roll up our sleeves. I genuinely hope that this process can produce something that is good for the country and acceptable to both sides. We don't agree on some of the specifics of border security. Democrats are against the wall. But we agree on many things, such as the need for new technology and the need to strengthen security at our ports of entry. And that bodes well for coming to an agreement. I believe there's good faith on both sides to reach an agreement, and we will work diligently to achieve one. And because we've set this up as a conference, Democrat and Republican leadership, House and Senate, will be involved, as will the appropriators from those committees. Most importantly, this agreement means that the government will reopen and 800,000 federal employees will finally get paid. After over a month of increasing desperation, our dedicated public servants will get the relief and the paychecks they are entitled to, including back pay. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank the federal workers who worked so selflessly this past month. They should never have to go through this again. We will do everything we can to make sure they won't have to. The past month has proven just how vital government services are to the American people, whether that's air traffic control, food safety inspections, the Coast Guard, national parks, and so many others. With this agreement, TSA, Border Patrol, FBI agents will all be paid again for protecting our country. Our airports will get back on track. We'll resume maintenance of our cherished national parks, and the IRS can issue tax refunds in a timely manner, all critical for the well-being of the American people. As Democrats have said all along, the solution to this impasse was to separate funding the government from our disagreements over border security. This agreement endorses that position. It reopens the government without preconditions and gives Democrats and Republicans an opportunity to discuss border security without holding hundreds of thousands of American workers hostage. Hopefully, it means a lesson has been learned. Shutting down government over a policy difference is self-defeating. It accomplishes nothing but pain and suffering for the country and the American people. That's a lesson we all must bear in mind when this next continuing resolution expires, and that will make its success more likely. We can never hold American workers hostage again. I yield the floor.